My sister announced at Easter she was never really our sister anyway. So I walked out forever and built an empire while she lost everything. Help us keep the stories alive. Subscribe today. And please share your location in the comments. It makes our audience feel like one big family. Easter Sunday 2019. I walked into Mama's house holding my famous sweet potato casserole, the same one I'd made every holiday since I was 16. The smell of ham and greens filled the air, gospel music played softly, and I felt grateful. My sister Keisha sat at the head of the table, Mama's seat, wearing a cream dress that cost more than my rent. Something felt wrong immediately. The room went quiet when I entered. Mama stood by the stove, her eyes red. My brother Elias wouldn't look at me. My aunties, Uncle Jerome, even Cousin Tasha. Everyone stared like I was a stranger. Finally, Keisha said, her voice dripping with something I'd never heard before. Pure contempt. We can tell her. I set the casserole down slowly. Tell me what? My hands were already shaking. Mama's voice cracked. Baby, please sit down. But Keisha stood up, her chair scraping against the floor like nails on a chalkboard. She pulled out a manila envelope from her designer purse, threw it on the table. Papers scattered everywhere. DNA results, she announced to the room. Turns out Jordan wasn't Daddy's. Mama had an affair. The room tilted. Someone gasped. I couldn't breathe. I stared at Mama, waiting for her to deny it, to tell Keisha she was crazy. Instead, Mama collapsed into a chair, sobbing. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, baby. Keisha smiled. Actually smiled. She was never really our sister anyway. I couldn't move. Couldn't process. My whole life, 28 years, suddenly felt like a lie. Elias finally looked at me, his face twisted with something between pity and disgust. You knew. I whispered to Mama. How long? She couldn't answer. Just sobbed harder. Keisha leaned back against the counter, arms crossed like she'd just won something. Found Daddy's old letters in the attic last month. He knew. Wrote about it, how he suspected but loved you anyway. How noble. Her voice was poison. But I needed to know the truth. I found my voice somewhere deep. Why? Why does this matter? Daddy raised me. He loved me. He pitied you, Keisha cut in. And now we know why you were always his favorite. Guilt. He felt guilty for pretending you belonged. Uncle Jerome spoke up. Keisha, that's enough. This ain't right. But she ignored him. She walked over to me, stood so close I could smell her expensive perfume. I've spent my whole life competing with you for scraps of attention. Perfect Jordan. Smart Jordan. Jordan who got the college fund, the car, everything. Now I know why. You were the affair baby he had to overcompensate for. I slapped her. My palm connected with her cheek so hard it echoed through the house. Keisha's hand flew to her face, shock replacing her smugness. You put your hands on me? The room erupted. Auntie Carol jumped between us. Elias grabbed my arm. Both of y'all need to calm down. But I was done being calm. Done being the bigger person. I turned to Mama. Is it true? All of it. She nodded, mascara streaming down her face. Your father. Not James, his name was David. David Morrison. He was a colleague. It was one time, one mistake, and I've regretted it every day since. Does he know about me? Silence. That was answer enough. Keisha laughed, bitter and cold. See? Even your real daddy didn't want you. At least we have an excuse. You're not actually family. Something inside me broke. Not my heart. That would come later. Something deeper. The foundation I'd built my entire identity on cracked clean through. I looked around the room at faces I'd loved my whole life. Some looked away. Some looked sympathetic. None of them defended me. I need to know, I said quietly, if you all feel the same way Keisha does. The silence was deafening. Finally, Auntie Carol spoke. Baby, you'll always be family to us. But this is complicated. We need time. Time. They needed time to decide if I was worthy of their love. I grabbed my purse. Jordan, wait. Mama reached for me. I stepped back. Don't. I've spent my whole life loving you all, being there, showing up. But DNA is all that matters now. Fine. Then I don't have a family anymore. I made it to my car before the tears came. Violent, body-shaking sobs that left me gasping. My phone buzzed. Keisha's name flashed across the screen with a text. Don't be dramatic. You knew you never really fit in anyway. I blocked her number. Then Elias. Then everyone. My apartment felt too quiet that night. I called in sick Monday. Then Tuesday. By Wednesday, I realized I couldn't remember the last meal I'd eaten. My boss, Patricia, showed up at my door Friday with Thai food and wine. You've been dodging my calls, she said, pushing past me. What happened? I told her everything. She listened without interrupting, her dark eyes sharp and assessing. Patricia wasn't just my boss, she was a force. 53, black, brilliant, and the founder of Morrison Tech Solutions. Yes, Morrison. The coincidence wasn't lost on me. When I finished, she set down her wine glass with a soft clink. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to come back to work Monday. You're going to throw yourself into the Henderson project I've been saving for someone special. And you're going to show those people that DNA doesn't determine worth, actions do. I can't just, yes you can, and you will. Because I've been watching you for 3 years, Jordan. You're brilliant. You're wasted in account management. I want you in development. I want you leading. I stared at her. Why? Patricia smiled, but it wasn't warm. It was the smile of someone who'd survived her own wars. Because 15 years ago my family did something similar to me. Found out my mother had an affair with my father's brother. Suddenly holidays became interrogations. Love became conditional. So I left. Built this company from nothing. And now I'm worth more than all of them combined. She leaned forward. They come to me now. Asking for money, for jobs, for favors. And I smile and say no every single time. That's power, Jordan. Real power isn't given by family. It's taken by yourself. Something sparked in my chest. Not hope exactly. Something fiercer. What's the Henderson project? Smart homes integration for the new luxury development downtown. 200 units. If you land it, we're talking $5 million in contracts. Your commission alone would be 6 figures. I sat up straighter. Why would you trust me with that? Because you're hungry now. Before you were good. Competent. Safe. Now. She pointed at my face. Now I see fire. Use it. Monday morning I walked into Morrison Tech with my head high. People noticed. I'd always been the friendly one, the one who brought cookies and remembered birthdays. Now I was focused. Precise. Dangerous. Patricia assigned me a team. I studied the Henderson project until my eyes burned. 3 weeks later I pitched to Richard Henderson himself. Richard Henderson was old money. 65, white-haired, skeptical as hell. He listened to my pitch in his downtown office, surrounded by architectural models and expensive art. Behind me stood Patricia and 2 junior associates, Maya and Terrence. Both black, both hungry, both brilliant. I'd picked them specifically. Miss Taylor, Henderson said when I finished, I've heard pitches from 15 companies. What makes Morrison Tech different? I didn't hesitate. Because we're not just selling you technology. We're selling you legacy. Your name is going on these buildings. When families move in, when they control their lights with voice commands, adjust their thermostats from vacation, monitor their security, they'll associate all of that with Henderson. Not with Samsung. Not with Google. With you. He leaned back. Continue. We're proposing custom branding. Henderson Home Integration. Your logo on every interface. Every app. You're not just a developer anymore. You become a lifestyle brand. I saw it click in his eyes. Maya smoothly transitioned to the technical specifications. Terrence handled cost projections. We worked like a machine. 2 hours later, Henderson stood and extended his hand. You've got yourself a deal, Ms. Taylor. Have contracts drawn up by Friday. I shook his hand, feeling steady despite my racing heart. Thank you, Mr. Henderson. You won't regret this. Outside, Patricia hugged me. Actually hugged me. That was masterful. Welcome to leadership. The celebration lasted until someone's phone buzzed with a notification. Maya's face changed. Jordan, you might want to see this. Maya handed me her phone. My chest tightened. It was Keisha's Instagram. A long, emotional post with our family photos. The caption made my blood run cold. Heartbroken today. Found out my sister isn't biologically related to us, and instead of accepting it with grace, she attacked me and abandoned our grieving mother. Family is DNA. Blood matters. Praying she finds peace. Hashtag family first, hashtag betrayed, hashtag DNA matters. 6,000 likes. Hundreds of comments. I scrolled through them, each one a knife. Blood is everything. She sounds toxic anyway. Your poor mother. But then I saw other comments. People defending me. Strangers who saw through Keisha's manipulation. Wait, she's mad because your sister existed? Make it make sense. Family is who shows up, not DNA. This is cruel. I handed the phone back. Let her have her moment. Patricia raised an eyebrow. That's it? You're not going to defend yourself. Watch me defend myself where it matters. In business. In life. Let her have Instagram. But it got worse. By Wednesday, Mama had posted her own statement. A tearful video talking about her mistake, about how much she loved me but understood if I needed space. Comments flooded in supporting her, painting me as the villain who abandoned my mother in her time of need. Elias posted a vague quote, "Sometimes the people you take a bullet for are the ones behind the trigger." I wanted to scream, to respond, to explain. Patricia caught me staring at my phone. Don't. I threw myself into work. Henderson project consumed me. 18-hour days. Weekends. I mapped out every unit, every integration point, every potential issue. Maya and Terrence became my work family. We grabbed late dinners, troubleshot problems at midnight, celebrated small victories. They didn't know my story. I didn't tell them. Then 3 months in, my phone rang from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Jordan. The voice was male, deep, unfamiliar. This is David Morrison. The floor dropped out beneath me. How did you get this number? Your mother. She thought maybe we should talk. I hung up. Immediately. My hands shook so badly I had to sit down. He called back. I let it go to voicemail. Then he texted, I understand if you don't want contact. But I've known about you since you were born. I've followed your life from a distance. I'm proud of you. If you ever want to know your medical history or just talk, I'm here. Medical history. Like I was a science project. I blocked the number. But curiosity ate at me. That night I did what I swore I wouldn't do. I Googled him. David Morrison. CEO of Morrison Capital Investments. My boss's company shared his last name. Was it coincidence? David's photo showed a distinguished man in his 60s. Light brown skin. My eyes. My nose. The resemblance was unmistakable. His About section mentioned 3 children. My half-siblings. A wife of 30 years. A whole life I'd never been part of. I sat in my car outside Morrison Capital's building for 20 minutes before going in. I told myself I was just delivering documents to a client. I'd lied. David Morrison's assistant greeted me warmly. "Miss Taylor. Mr. Morrison mentioned you might stop by. Please go right in." He'd been expecting me. The manipulation made me angry. But I walked in anyway. David stood from behind a massive desk. In person, the resemblance was even more striking. "Jordan. Thank you for coming. I didn't come for a reunion. I came because I have questions." He nodded, gestured to a chair. "Ask anything." "Did you love my mother?" He blinked. Not the question he'd expected. "Cared for her deeply. But I was married. It was a mistake. A moment of weakness that I've regretted for 29 years. Did you want me?" Silence. "I wanted you to have a good life. James, your dad, was a good man. Better than me. He could give you stability. A family. I was building a company, drowning in debt, barely keeping my marriage together. I thought. You thought you were doing me a favor. By pretending I didn't exist." "Yes." At least he was honest. I stood to leave. "Wait," he said quickly. "I know this doesn't fix anything. But Patricia Morrison, she's my sister. She knows about you. She's known for years." The room spun. "What?" "She gave you that job specifically. The Henderson Project. She's been positioning you for success because I asked her to. Because I wanted to help even if I couldn't be a father." I stormed out of David's office and drove straight to Patricia's. She was in a meeting. I didn't care. I burst through her door, ignoring her assistant's protests. "Get out," I told the 3 executives sitting across from her. "Now." Patricia's face remained calm. "Gentlemen, we'll reschedule." When they left, she folded her hands. "I assume you spoke with David. You've been lying to me for 3 years. Using me. Was any of it real? The mentorship? The opportunities? Or was I just your guilt project? Sit down, Jordan. Answer the question." She stood, her voice sharp as glass. "You think I built a multi-million-dollar company by giving handouts? You earned every opportunity. Yes, David told me about you when you applied. Yes, I paid attention. But I've had hundreds of employees. You're one of 5 I've ever personally mentored. You know why?" I didn't answer. "Because you have something most people don't. Vision. Hunger. The ability to see 3 moves ahead. The Henderson Project? I had senior executives lining up for that. I gave it to you because I knew you'd execute it flawlessly. And you did. But you lied. I withheld information. There's a difference. Would you have taken the job if you'd known? Would you have trusted any success you achieved?" He was right. I hated that she was right. What does David want from me? Nothing. He wanted to help you. That's it. And you? What do you want? Patricia walked to her window, looking out over the city. "I want you to stop letting other people's secrets define you. Your mother's affair. David's cowardice. Keisha's cruelty. None of it determines your worth." 6 months after Easter, the Henderson Project launched. It was flawless. Every unit, every integration, every detail perfect. Richard Henderson called personally to congratulate me. "Miss Taylor, I'm developing 3 more properties. I want Morrison Tech on all of them. But more specifically, I want you." The contracts totaled $18 million. My commission, over $300,000. I couldn't breathe. Patricia promoted me to VP of Development. At 32 years old, I was the youngest executive in the company. With my new salary and commission, I bought a penthouse in the building I'd helped develop. Hardwood floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, a view of the entire city. I furnished it carefully. Expensively. Everything I'd ever wanted. Maya and Terrence got promotions too. We celebrated at a restaurant where appetizers cost more than my old grocery budget. To Jordan, Terrence raised his glass. For changing all our lives. But success felt hollow. I'd won. I'd proven myself. So why did I still feel empty? My phone buzzed during dessert. Mama's number. I'd unblocked her last week. The text read, "Jordan, please. It's been 6 months. Keisha's getting married. He wants you at the wedding. Can we please talk?" I stared at the message until Maya touched my arm. "You okay? My sister's getting married. She wants me there." "The sister who disowned you on Easter?" Maya's face hardened. "What are you going to do?" I typed slowly, "Tell her congratulations. I won't be attending." Mama called immediately. I let it go to voicemail. Then she called again. And again. Finally I answered. "Mama. Baby, please. Please just come to the wedding. Keisha knows she made mistakes. She wants to apologize. She wants you to be her maid of honor." I almost laughed. "Maid of honor? Are you serious?" "She's changed, Jordan. She's grown. This man Dan, he's good for her. Made her see things differently." "What things?" "That family is more than blood. That she was wrong. That she needs her sister." Part of me wanted to believe it. The part that still remembered us as kids sharing secrets, braiding each other's hair. But the other part, the part that remembered Easter, stayed cold. "I need to think about it. The wedding's in 3 weeks. Please, Jordan. Do it for me. I'm dying here without both my girls." The guilt trip worked. Partially. I'll come to the wedding. As a guest. Not maid of honor. Not in the family pictures. I'll come, I'll watch, I'll leave. Mama sobbed with relief. "Thank you, baby. Thank you." The week before the wedding, a package arrived at my office. An envelope with Keisha's handwriting. Inside, a handwritten letter. "Jordan, I was cruel. I was jealous. I spent my whole life comparing myself to you, and when I found those DNA results, I thought I finally had proof that I was the real daughter. The righteous one. I was wrong. Daddy loved you because you were lovable. Not because of guilt. I'm sorry. Please come. Please be there. I need my sister. Keisha." I read it 3 times looking for the trap. Found none. Maybe people could change. The wedding was beautiful. Garden ceremony, string quartet, 200 guests. I wore a simple navy dress, sat in the back, planned my escape route. Keisha looked stunning in white lace. I watched her marry Deshaun, a tall, kind-faced man who looked at her like she hung the moon. During the reception she found me. "You came." I said I would. We stood awkwardly. Then she hugged me, tight and desperate. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything." I hugged her back, feeling the wall I'd built start to crack. Maybe this was real. Maybe we could heal. Then Deshaun approached, smiling. "So you're the famous Jordan. Keisha talks about you all the time. All good things, I hope." He laughed. "Mostly. Hey, I heard you're VP at Morrison Tech now. That's incredible. Actually, I wanted to ask, we're starting a company, Keisha and I, and we could really use some investment or maybe a partnership opportunity." The wall slammed back up. I stepped away from Keisha. This was a setup. Her face changed. "No, Jordan, wait. You apologized so I'd come and invest in your business? Are you kidding me? It's not like that. I really am sorry, but also you're successful now and family helps family." I laughed. Cold and bitter. Family helps family. You disowned me. You announced to everyone that I wasn't real family. But now that I have money, suddenly DNA doesn't matter. People were staring. The music had stopped. I grabbed my purse. "Jordan, please." Mama appeared, grabbing my arm. Don't make a scene. Not at her wedding. I looked at her. Really looked. And saw that she'd known. She'd known about the business. She'd helped orchestrate this. You all deserve each other. I walked out. This time forever. No tears. No regrets. Just clarity. Behind me I heard Keisha's voice crack. But she was never really our sister anyway. Some things never change. But I had. And I built an empire on the ashes of their betrayal. They lost everything, dignity, integrity, me. And I finally found freedom. 2 years later I stood on stage accepting an award for Tech Innovator of the Year. Morrison Tech had expanded internationally. I'd launched my own subsidiary, Taylor Integration Solutions. David Morrison sat in the audience, proud but distant. We had coffee occasionally. Nothing more. I'd learned blood doesn't make family, choice does. Patricia was there beaming. Maya and Terrence flanked me on stage. Mama sent a card I didn't open. Keisha's business had failed. I'd heard through the grapevine she'd asked David for money. He'd said no. She'd burned too many bridges. The empire I built wasn't about revenge. It was about proving that worth isn't inherited, it's earned. And I earned every single piece of my success. They lost me. That was their loss. Not mine. Never mine again.